right, it's time for Serverless Office Hours. How's everybody doing? Hey, I am really excited to have a guest here today. Her name is Ankita Yadav. How did I do?
You did well, Eric. Hi, everyone.
Tell them who you are.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ankita Yadav, and I'm a product manager with Amazon API Gateway team at AWS.
Okay, I'm going to try it one more time. Ankita Yadav.
Awesome.
Awesome. I got it. Awesome. Yes. Eric slaughters names. That's just, I'm not proud of it, but that's just the way it goes. And so so Ankita was very patient with me, and I appreciate that. If you haven't ever watched Serverless Office Hours, we welcome you. We're excited to have you here. This is we meet every week and we talk about serverless topics. I see some folks coming in. I see John Walsh. I see again with the name Durango, I think is that. Excited to see you here. If it's your first time, give us a howdy. Tell us where you're coming from. Today we're going to be talking about API Gateway. So let's kind of go through some things. We have a few announcements. Again, this is Ankita Yadav. She's a product manager for AWS Serverless API Gateway Group. I'm Eric Johnson. I'm a principal developer advocate for AWS Developer Tools and for AWS Serverless as well. These are our Twitter handles, and I encourage you to reach out to us, follow us. For me, you'll hear a lot about serverless. You'll hear a lot about pizza. You'll hear a lot about Dr. Pepper, and you'll hear a lot about my kids and some drumming. So what will they hear from you, Ankita?
From me, it would be API Gateway and food. I love to cook, so anytime happy to chat.
All righty. All right. Anytime you want to cook, my family of 7 will come over and help you try things out. So you just let me know. So
yeah.
We're going to do you that favor. So what's your favorite dish to cook?
Sorry?
What's your favorite dish to cook?
I like cooking Indian food.
Okay.
So, I could go into specifics, but I love desserts, especially desserts. So yeah, I love to cook that.
This is going to come as a surprise to you. I like to eat Indian food, and I also love to eat desserts. So yeah, I do like it. I'm not kind of a baby. It can get a little spicy for me, but I do like it. Yes. So.
Yeah, I can give you spicy food. I'm already watching you.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to jump here. So a couple things. Last week, if you missed it, Ben Smith and Jillian Wood, they talked about the new data flow simulator for AWS Step Functions. Really cool tool to help you understand what your data is going to do in the state machine. Encourage you to check that out. If you missed it on our serverless, we've got our links here for our serverless and YouTube channel, as well as our AWS Twitch channel, where we have these. Go to the serverless and YouTube channel to watch the previous episodes. Eric can't talk today. How you doing? And so the previous episodes, and there's a playlist for serverless, the serverless office hours, as well as lots of other stuff. So hope you can catch that. What's new in AWS Serverless? We've had some new things coming out. Amazon DynamoDB Local now supports the AWS SDK for Java 2.x. The NoSQL Workbench for Amazon DynamoDB now supports AWS CloudFormation. CloudFront, really cool announcement here is CloudFront Functions, a lightweight edge compute capability. You can run JavaScript, different things at numerous edge points. And then Amazon SNS Amazon SNS grows the set of message filtering operators. So if you want to know more about what's new, go to s12d.com/what's new. Lots of blogs, things there. Obviously, the QR code will take you there as well. We also have some new blogs that have come out. I'll just do a couple of the top ones. We've announced the other ones before, but James's part 2 on performance optimization. Really encourage you to check these out. If you're looking at helping your service applications perform better, optimization, James is the master at this. You see part 1 and part 2. So I encourage you to do that. I also have a blog out there called Better Together, AWS SAM and AWS CDK. If you missed the CDK day on Friday, I did the keynote on that on how AWS SAM now supports natively local development of AWS CDK projects. So if I'm in a CDK project, I can type SAM build, and it's going to work. And it is in beta, so you can go and you can download the beta version of the AWS SAM CLI. All right. Couple of things. We have the Lambda's Operators Guide. Again, this is talking about James's Operators Guide that's out there. We have our Serverless Patterns Collection. If you haven't seen these, if you're trying to get started and you need to know how to build some things with serverless, there's a whole collections of patterns. Our new SDA, Talia, has just put up 4 new ones. So we're excited for her. We're excited for those patterns. So I encourage you to go to s12d.com/patterns. It's a great place to start if you're building serverless. Also, if you're getting started with serverless, Ben Smith has an excellent series called Getting Started with Serverless for Developers. And you can get started there at s12d.com/getting started. Ankita, have you counted how many times I said getting started in the last minute? That's crazy. I said it a ton of times. So, all right. And the last thing we've got is our Serverless Live conference. If you're new to serverless, if you're an expert in serverless, if you want to learn more, we encourage you to join us. This is a free event called Serverless Live. It's on May 19th from 8 a.m. to 1:30 Pacific time. Again, it's free. You can register. I'll be speaking there. Our entire DA team, plus some of our solutions architects, plus others will be talking about how do you get started with serverless? How does serverless work? Some things you need to think about building backends, building front ends, all things serverless. So I encourage you to join us. So let's get to the point of today. All right. And today we're going to be talking about something that Ankita told me about a while back. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. And then I did a tweet about it. And I got a lot of people going back, this is cool. And we need this. All right. And today we're going to be talking about IAM, which is Identity and Access Management Condition Keys for API Gateway. Right. And so elevator pitch, Ankita, what is that?
IAM condition keys help you with scoping down permissions for your API gateway, right? So today you can so for a new user, what you would want to do is you would want to start from 0 and then slowly add permissions for them, right? You start with maybe read-only permissions, then you would want to maybe restrict them to only one kind of API, like one of the endpoint types, like maybe only private, maybe only regional, or you would want to maybe you want to restrict the kind of authorization that your APIs use across your organization. So using condition keys, you can do that. That gives you that granular level of control over your APIs, how your APIs are managed within your team, within your organization, however you apply the policies.
Okay. All right. So this is not who can hit my API. Like this is permissions around who can invoke the API, but it's really more about who can create the API and what kind of API they can create, right?
Exactly.
So it's more of an internal governance type thing. Okay, excellent. Exactly. All right. So this is interesting in as teams get bigger, it's serverless like anything else. We build these service applications and we start making micro applications and we put them together to do bigger applications. And at the end of the day, we have these huge teams that are building serverless applications for enterprise companies or for startups or anything. And so when you have large teams, the reality of it is you need governance. You need to be able to say, because we don't want to just throw everything out there and pay. Hey, you just throw it out there, we'll pay for it. That's not usually the business model, is it?
Right. Right. And the good thing about condition keys is, for example, like you also have AWS config that helps you with, something did something wrong, and here is the result. But that kind of alert you're getting after that activity has already happened, right?
That's right.
But with condition keys, it is more of a proactive governance. You can prevent those activities from even happening. So you can prevent anyone from doing something wrong with your API model, with how you're managing your APIs.
Okay, that's an interesting distinction, and I like that point. So rather than saying, "Oh, what have we done?" it is, "Oh, we're not going to let you do that." Okay, I like that a lot. So the tools you talked about, if you're not familiar with AWS config, that is something that can monitor, and you can actually set it up to remediate some things as well. And if you're not familiar with this Sessions with Sam series that I did last year, I do 3 episodes on that. We set up a whole config using SAM and everything like that. So on the YouTube channel, I encourage you to check that out if you're curious about that. But today we're really going to kind of more jump into these IAM config rules in preventing that. So, and you've got a demo for us, right?
Yes. I'll share my screen.
All righty. I will bring it up. I think you can have a mirror effect at the moment if I bring it up.
Yeah, but I'll switch screens.
Which mirror effects are cool. I like that. All right, and as always, if you have questions, we'll be doing this. I'll be hitting Ankita. We also have who's the developer is helping us in our chat channel as well. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have Akash Perry.
Akash, that's right.
Yeah, so he would also be helping with the questions.
Thanks, right. So, yeah, if we've got questions. So before we jump into this real quick here, we have a question. It's okay to say, if we don't know, we can get an answer, but I'll see if we know this is, I'll just load this up. It says, can you confirm that if I have a usage plan RPS limit of 10 with 100 API keys? Oh, so this is a little off topic, but does each 100 get 10 RPS, or is the 10 RPS split across all 100? So I can, you know what? Do you know the answer to that off the top of your head, Ankita? If not, I can get back with this.
So this is per API key that you get.
Right.
Yeah.
Limit of 10 with 100 API keys. Does each 100 get 10 RPS, or does 10 RPS get split across 100? You know what? We can come back to that one as well.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sure. We'll come back to that. So code with Sean. I will get an answer to that. If we don't answer this, you know the drill. Hit me on EDJ Geek on Twitter or Ankita's, and we'll get an answer for you. But right off the top of my head, I have to put my head in that scope. I used to know all about that, but now I'm forgetting it. So we'll get with that. So, all right, Ankita, I'm going to share your screen. You ready?
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. Okay. It looks like we still got a little bit of a mirror effect going on.
Okay. Yeah. Let me.
There it is.
Now.
All right.
Okay.
And at the bottom, can you click hide? Oh, no, it looks like you may have hidden that. So, all right.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
It is visible. You might want to blow it up in size 1. I can read it pretty well, but maybe one more. There we go. That should be great.
Okay, good. All right. So this is my AWS account, and I'm logged in as an admin user. I have created one dev user, just name dev1, that I want to use for developers in my team, right? So I'll start with granting the least privileges possible. So right now, this user doesn't have any permissions at all. So now if you try, and this is the CLI for the dev1 user. I'm logged in as dev1. So now if I try to hit, let's say AWS API Gateway, I just want to look at what all my APIs are present in my account. Okay, I did something.
Just T. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an expert at misspelling.
And so it says access denied because there are no permissions attached to that user, and it also says user account ID, user dev1 not authorized to perform this, and this is what we expected.
Right.
Now I do want my developers to at least see the APIs, right? So I would like to add some permissions. And I've already created one policy, which I'm calling API Gateway Read Only. Okay, let me search for API Gateway.
That's funny. He said, I'm learning to spellificate too. So yes, this is that. I've always said I'd be 3 times a developer if I could spell better. So good call.
Yeah, so API Gateway Read Only policy. And this I created this beforehand, and we'll see what this policy contains in a minute.
Yeah.
And if you look at this gives you read permissions, which is API Gateway get operation. I'll walk you through all the operations we have. It gives you access. It says allow all API Gateway get operations on all API Gateway resources. So this is effectively going to give me read access to the API Gateway resources. So now if I try again, now I can see my APIs. Right?
All right. So I'm going to stop you there real quick, if you don't mind. It's a good breaking point. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about real quick a couple things. Least privileges, right? So when we say least privileges, what does that mean?
It means you start with the least permissions you want, and you slowly increase them as your developers or whoever needs more permissions. You don't start with a larger bucket. Let's say I could do API Gateway star here, something like
yes, yeah,
something like this. But this would not be least privilege because this is giving access to all API gateway operations, which also like read, write, update, delete, everything to all the resources. So I wouldn't want to start with this. I would start with 0 and then give read and then proceed ahead.
Yeah, and I want and you explained exactly how I wanted it exactly. So many times we see folks as developers with our applications like we'll just give this Lambda function rights to do anything. And so obviously we've always said no, least privileges on your applications, but it's the same with your governance. When you're working with your developers, as frustrating as that may be, you want to know this is going to allow you to predict what's going on. What does my security posture look like? What is my cost? I'm really it gives you some control over that. So admin every Lambda is what one of our viewers have said. So exactly. All right. I won't interrupt you again, but I appreciate you kind of talking through that.
Yeah, this is how you would go with any service, but I'm demonstrating only for API gateway. But yeah, this applies to anything you do in AWS. All right, so yeah, we can now read APIs, but let's try maybe creating a REST API. REST API. I already had the command.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay, this is more than I need. Let's say I'm creating a regional API. Like this is I would want to, let's name it regional API 1.
All righty.
Yeah, and I want to create a regional API, a public API. And oops. And this doesn't allow me because I only have read permissions. And this is what we expected.
Now, will this, if I'm doing it through CloudFormation, will it deny it there too?
Yes, this applies across console, CLI, CloudFormation, anywhere. So this is on the resource.
Okay.
It's not dependent on what medium you use. You use CDK or you use any third-party tool, anywhere. This is the central location you configure prop policies.
Okay.
So now, okay. So, now I would think, okay, my developers have read-only permissions, but I do want to allow them to create APIs, but I want to restrict them. I do not want them creating public APIs because I'm a security-sensitive organization. I only want them to create private APIs. And before we launched this feature, the new condition keys that we added for API Gateway, that was not possible because you couldn't have those granular permissions at an attribute level, right? But now,
no. So it looks. Let's talk about that real quick. So here recently, and it's probably been about a month now, there's been an update to these permissions, and I think it's 27 keys we added.
Yes, we added 27 keys.
The vault right there. Can't believe I can't tell you my kid's age, but I remember 27 keys. So okay, cool.
Yeah, it's a good number, right? 27. It's easy to remember.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I'll post a link to the blog on this, so you have links to that here momentarily.
Yeah. So now I want to scope down my access, like not scope down. In fact, I'm increasing access for this user dev1 from read to creating private APIs. So I have a policy in place which says scope to private APIs, and we'll review it. And I added this. So this says, right now I want to allow the developer to create and import. So in API Gateway, you can create APIs in two ways. Either you can create a single, you can create API from just the CLI or the operations that we have, like you configure all the attributes and that's what create APIs for you. Or you can import an API. You can import an open API template. Okay. So those are the two operations that allow you to create an API in API Gateway. And I want the developer to be able to use both to create the private API. Okay. So that's why this is just an ID, like it doesn't do anything. But yeah, I named it as create and import. And the actions you would use here are post and put. And let me walk you through like how you can grab these actions. Like how do you identify which actions to use and which resources to use?
I was just going to ask that. Okay, good. Yeah. Thank you.
So I have that open. Okay. So this is a page in IAM developer guide. It lists all the services who have condition keys, or all the policies, like how you can, like actions, resources, and condition key for all services are listed here. And you go to, for API Gateway, you would see three options. One is Amazon API Gateway. This is for the invoke part that we were talking about in the beginning of the session, right? This handles your invoke permissions.
Right. Okay.
But for this session, we would want to go to Amazon API Gateway Management, because this is about API management. And we have two services, API Gateway V1 and API Gateway V2. So you would have two different sections. Because I'm dealing with REST APIs here, I'll focus on API Gateway Management, like without a V1. But yeah, that's implied.
Okay, and I'm posting these links. If you're trying to read the link or something from her screen, I'm posting these links as well. So
that's great. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah.
Okay, so now in any of these pages, you would see these sections are common. So you would see an action section, you would see a resource section, and you would see a condition key section. Now, if we go back to our policy, let me pull this back here. Yeah. So if you see your policy, these are the three sections you want: action, resource, and condition. Now for action, okay, you want to restrict your create API and your import API. And if you see, here is your
post. There
post,
it is.
right?
Okay.
This is the right access level, and you see a REST API,
Okay.
REST API resource here. And also your put, that also has a REST API. A better way to look at it is actually looking at the API reference. This is API Gateway API reference. This is the V1. And we have two resources, REST API and REST API, REST APIs. So REST APIs is the collection resource, and REST API is the singular resource. The REST API resource allows you update and delete, right? And let me open this in a new link. So we wanted to create an import, right?
Right.
So if you see here, this
There
is the
is.
operation I was talking about, and this is the. So you see, this create the. So API Gateway uses HTTP verbs for actions. So you would want to look your verbs here. So create option has the post verb, and this is the import. This is the import operation, and this is you would use action put.
Gotcha.
Right?
Okay.
So you look at your API reference. That is where you find your actions. Now you move to this table, and now you know which actions you want, right?
Yeah. I would tell you right now, while you're explaining this, Akash is killing it in the chats. He's answering questions and knocking it out. So
yeah,
Akash, and if that's AWS Akash in the chat on Twitter, and so yeah, thank you very much.
He's very good with this. So yeah, keep shooting questions.
Yeah. I was going to stop you for questions, but Akash is knocking them out. So
great. Thanks, Akash.
So I will say there seems to be an issue with me posting to the Twitch channel at the moment. I'm not sure why. I'm going to work on that. So if some of the links did not come through, I will be posting those shortly. So
yeah, we'll collect all the links and then post together as well in the
that'll
end.
work. Yep.
So now we have identified actions. Now you move to the resources. You have REST API and REST APIs. This is the ARN format that you would need. Now, if you look at your policy, right? So you have REST APIs, this resource, right? We use partition as AWS, API Gateway, US East 1, right? We filled all of this out.
Right.
This is the REST APIs resource.
Yep.
And
one thing I would say, and this is a little off topic, but if you're looking at this going, how do I fill all that in, and I find that SAM will help you with. If you use AWS SAM to create some of these, that'll help you as well. You can use the CLI, or we can use SAM to push these, because obviously CloudFront pushing that out there, but that will also help you fill in some of these as well. And I can each other
Yeah.
another time.
And I'm walking you through all of this so that it becomes easier to build new policies. But all the basic policies, like mostly what you would need, we have added many examples here, identity-based policy examples. So you can find all these policies here. So you can just copy paste, make some edits, and go with it.
Yep, and that's one of the links that I posted. That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
all right. So now I have to ask you in one, and maybe I'm jumping ahead, and you can tell me, but in one of your, you have a bunch of question marks at the end of one of your policies.
Yeah. So this is sure. So API gateway. If you look at the ARN formats here, right? You have, let's say, look at authorizers. So all of them have this similar a common prefix, which is REST APIs, and then you have your REST API ID, and followed by another string which tells you what is that resource, right?
Okay.
So let's imagine if you just do REST API /star. Okay.
Okay, that's everything.
Yeah, that's everything. That is matching authorizers, API keys, and everything.
Okay.
What you have to do, what I'm trying to do here is scope down this permission only to create and import APIs.
Excellent.
And what this question mark let me do is match this REST API ID just with these characters. So it would just match this just the next string, which is the REST API ID, and stop there. It wouldn't go for a star, like a wildcard match.
Right. Okay. So, okay, I follow.
Okay. So we identified our resources as well, which is just REST API and REST APIs. And now we move to the condition keys. The intent was to scope down this permission only to private APIs, right? You have your resource. I only want create and import only for private, not public. So now that is where condition key comes in. This says for any value in the coming in request, and I'll explain this better just 1 minute later. You use this condition key, right? And it says the endpoint type should be private. And how do you get this this condition key? So this is the table you use for this condition key. You go here. This is the endpoint type. It also tells you it filters access by endpoint type. These are the operations it is available with. Okay.
Okay. Hey, Ankita, I'm going to take you back to the question marks because there's a question in here, and maybe you can help it. And I think I'm still a little unclear. It says how many questions mark? How you doing? How many question marks to match REST API ID? Can you explain the question marks again?
So these are 10 question marks, and that's the REST API ID length. So that's
okay.
what.
So the regex matching.
Yeah, this is regex matching.
Okay, so all right. Okay, all right, I'm following. So I didn't know this. A lot of times I'm asking questions because I think that people will need to know that, and I already knew. There's some I didn't know. So this is really cool. So in here I can say, so whatever I'm matching needs to be that length of those question marks, which would be REST API ID.
Yeah.
Okay, all righty. Okay, so hopefully that helps. All right.
Okay. Okay. Moving back to the condition keys. Now I've grabbed my condition key, and I'm using these are IAM constructs, like for any value, and we say if this string exists.
Okay.
That is when you keep your endpoint type as private, and let's see what it does. So I've already applied this policy, so it should be in effect by now. So how I was not able to create the API, like a public API earlier, now if I try to create a private API, it should succeed. See, it succeeded.
It succeed. Nice. Sorry, I was answering a question in here. So you were able to create a private API because we matched that. First of all, you said this is I'm adding this. So can we go back to the permissions? I want to explain this in Eric language that is very simplified. So so in the policy, we're saying this policy is only going to apply to puts and posts, which allows import and create. Then we're going to say, now that we know this is what they're trying to do, this is the condition that has to be for any value. And we're saying, so let's talk through this condition real quick. String equals if exists. So we're saying This string has to exist for this policy to even be looked at. It's just going to kick it out if it's not. And that says request endpoint type. So that has to exist in there. And then it has to be equal to private.
Yes.
All right. Okay. So if you were to go back and try to do a public one in your CLI, it would crash.
It should.
Yes. Love it when it works.
Yeah. Demos are hard, right?
Yeah. All right. So, okay. So we have how to use this is a little here. So we have a question on how to use multi-level mapping with SAM. I have a blog that'll post. I'll post a link in just a few minutes to give you some information on that.
All right.
So here we go. We have a question from Code with Shauna. I assume that casing matters since she put private in the condition. Is that the case? So yeah, if that were lowercase private, would it work?
I'm actually not sure about that.
It was AWS Akash is saying yes, it is case sensitive.
Okay.
Right on. Thanks, Akash.
All right. So yeah, you need all caps here.
Excellent. He's also saying so I'm repeating this because maybe on YouTube you may not see this because it's coming in through the Twitch channel, but he's also saying there's an ignore case suffix you can add to avoid that. So
in the condition, this clause here, right? String equal if there is I think we should link it here. Where is that? I think this is the these are some of the I think this is good to look at. This here, like you can see all the clauses you can use with IAM, the different operators. So here, if you see ignores case, this one.
Nice. Okay, all right. And Akash is posting these documents for us. Thank you, Akash, for doing that. And Code with Sean is filling up with all these good links. I'm sure you're following the Chris Munn's format of 9 billion tabs open. So that's up to you, but that'll crash your machine. Just that was a public service announcement there. There you go. Yeah. All right. So what are we doing next?
Okay. So now let's try deleting this API. Right. I want to delete the private API I created. So let me try. I have this delete API command here.
And as a developer, I would just assume since I can create, I could probably delete. But
nope.
I cannot. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And because we only allow post and put here and not delete, right? So this is only create an import policy.
Okay. All righty.
But as you said, as a developer, if you were creating something, you also want to delete that. So as an admin, I would want to allow you to do that. But again, I want to scope it down to private APIs. I do not want you to touch any public APIs whatsoever.
Okay.
So I would go here and just edit this policy. You can attach. Okay, it expired.
Isn't that always fun?
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go back.
Never fails. You can have 8 hours, but you'll always do the presentation starting at 7.5 hours. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And meetings.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So what was I doing? Okay. I want to delete now, and I would go ahead and edit the same policy. You can create a new policy attached to the same user. That's also the same. But here I would like to.
But I love this that you're doing separate statements, right? And you might have to get granular on this, but I've seen a lot of folks add just a bunch of junk into the same. That's not the right word. A bunch of stuff into the same statement, and what happens there is you can't get as granular as you want, So I would really, really encourage, look at breaking if you're in the same policy, that's fine. Some people you might add more, but look at breaking down these statements so that I can, they're much manageable in your head and to evaluate.
Exactly. Yeah, that's just how you manage it in your head. And then like when you keep piling up condition keys, you also need to understand how, like how are they working? Are they
Right.
they using an and, using an or, and you sometimes forget that. So
Yep.
it's beneficial to add additional, like a separate segment.
All right, so talk us through this one.
Yeah, so I'm naming this as update and delete. Here I'm allowing access to actions, API gateway patch and delete. Patch is the update, although we are only talking about delete here. So I could, try and just delete this line. But I'm giving update and delete access to inside this policy, which will be attached to the user. The resources remain the same as above, right? This is the REST APIs.
Right.
Just the REST API resource, no other API gateway resource. And again, I say the condition key, this endpoint type should be private. Now, an interesting thing to note here, this is a request and endpoint type condition key, and this is a resource endpoint type condition key. And
I didn't catch that. Good. Okay.
And the difference is request is what comes with the request, right? It's request data that API gateway is getting when we get your request. And resources, what is existing in a resource. So for an update and delete, a resource needs to exist, right? And when you say, let's say, delete API, right? I was trying this command here, and I didn't specify endpoint type anywhere. So API gateway wouldn't get this condition key in the request anymore because you didn't add it, right?
Right. So it's a loophole if we don't cover that. Yeah. Okay. All right.
What you would instead want to do is look at the property of the resource that is existing, whether it is private or public, and use the resource condition key instead. So the resource endpoint type should be private, and that is only when I allow delete and patch.
Gotcha. Hey, Ankita, can you do me a favor? Can you kill your Outlook as well? That way you don't keep having the.
Yeah.
And that was my bad. I should have given you a heads up on that.
Yeah, let me do that.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, it's gone.
All right. So with this, now we should be able to delete or update that API.
Yeah. Here, see changes. Okay. Let's try now.
All righty.
And it succeeded.
Nice. All righty. So we've built enough that your developers can create a very specific type of API and delete a very specific type of API. They have to be private, and they have to anything. So let's jump back. I'm going to see if we've got any other questions coming back in here. We've got some folks saying these are great ideas, helping us out. Akash is again answering questions, so I think we are good to jump to the next. If you've got the mirror effect here. Do you have anything else you're going to show, or is that a wrap?
That's a wrap from a demo perspective.
Okay.
I think we can just look at these. Let me go to these links. As I showed earlier, these are the examples. The most commonly asked ones are the ones that I showed. And the other one is that you wouldn't want to have any of your routes in your APIs to be open, and you would want something like some kind of optimization, right?
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's something that I've told I've had people, how do I make sure? Well, you go to config, right? You go to config and you say, hey, if those are open, get an alert, and then get on the phone and call someone or something like that. So I love this because now I can say, look, anything you push out, I'm going to put this in place. Anything you push out is going to you has to have an authorization on the route.
Right. So you wouldn't be able to create or update any route that has authorization type as none, which is an open route, which you want. So this also helps you with that.
That's all right. You've got my disease there that I talk fine until I get on screen.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let me ask you a couple of questions about scope based on some questions that we had in here. So when you're applying these, how big is this scope? Okay, is it so? And what I mean is it just anybody in the account, or were you applying it to a specific users? How can you scope that?
So here in the demo, I scoped this to a user. So you look
okay, gotcha.
at these users, you have your admin user. I created a separate user for this.
Okay.
And I started with 0, then I added read-only permissions, and then I scoped them to, and I believe that is how teams manage their developer and production accounts. Usually, you don't work with, and you should not, if you are, you shouldn't work with admin on those accounts.
That's right.
You would instead create a developer role or a user. So you can attach the policy to a role, to a user as you wish. I demonstrated using a user here, but you can also attach the policies to a role that somebody can assume and do some operation on API Gateway.
Alrighty. Now, will this work at an organization level?
Yes, this also works at an organization level. So the policies would look a little different because the SCPs, the service control policies, are default deny policies. So you will want to change up the policy a little bit, like maybe start with the effect as deny instead of allow, so that you don't confuse the default effect there. Otherwise, the resources, actions, and conditions remain the same.
Okay. Alrighty. So as an organization, I can create an organization, and one of the things we talk about when you're building service applications is every developer should have their own account, right? That's just an easy way of isolating that security and things like that. So we can have an organizational roles, things like that would allow them. You can control that. So,
Exactly.
All right, this is great. So what I want to do, and you might have some other things to show here, but I want to open up and see if we have any other questions coming in. We've got a pretty good group of folks out there who are watching. So if you have any questions, now's the time. And we have Ankita and Akash both here to answer questions, and me. I can answer a question or two. Ankita is the expert here, so fire away. If not, then we might talk about what's coming up, but we'll give it just a few moments. While we're waiting, I want to thanks to Akash again, who has just knocked it out of the park. For some reason, like I said, I was having problems with my links going out. So, all right. Well, this is great stuff. I need to learn it all fairly quickly since I'm now using API Gateway. Good. That's good to hear. We like that you're using it. I encourage you. So I have a direct pipeline into the API Gateway. I work with the team all the time. If you need something, need help, let me know. That's part of our jobs as developer advocates. It is a two-way conversation. So, all right. So we have a question. Are there any serverless patterns for CDK v2? It's Ankita. I'm just kidding. She's like, what? So CDK v2, no, I don't have any at the moment, but I'll be looking at that. That was just recently announced. So nothing at the moment. So we have some other questions about data mapping like VTL for HTTP APIs. So we can't talk about what's coming up at the moment. So just because roadmap reasons, but keep watching. Any other questions? Great questions coming in. And this, if you have a question, it does not have to be serverless API gateway related. I'll answer any other questions I can, as for instance, the CDK and this here. So I'm supposed to stop teasing Dev Cloud Stark. I apologize. I don't mean to. So, all right. Anything else coming in? All right. While we're doing that, let me tell you what's coming up over the next weeks, so we can you can prepare. We got several interesting ones coming up here. All right. So next week, James Bezic. Dadgummit, I say his name wrong. See, you think I'm bad with your name. It's Bezic. I know the guy. We've had burgers together in almost every state. But I still say his name wrong. So he's going to be talking about Kinesis, all the streams. And really it's talking about patterns for using Kinesis in all the different streaming things that you may need. Kinesis is an incredibly powerful service. So you'll want to check that out. All right, so we do have a question coming in. It says, I may be off topic, but I cannot find a way to trigger a Lambda functions with event types as event bridge rule, but with the scheduled event pattern using SAM. All right. So yes. So I'll tell you the easiest way to do that, and I'm just going to do that on screen so you can see it here. Here's how I do that. I'm going to pull up my browser. I've just completely lost my browser. Hang on a second. Let's get rid of PowerPoint here. Okay. So when I'm working with event sources, look at that. Just showing my all my cards right there with my PowerPoint. All righty. And my PowerPoint is not playing nicely, so let's just do this. I did on Friday. I had problems with PowerPoint as well. So, folks, bear with me. Let's try this. My machine is just. Oh, I know what the problem is. There. Okay. So, wow, that was really complicated. This is Eric's first time streaming. All right. So what I'll do is I actually will go to AWS serverless function. And this takes me right to the resource type in SAM. I'm going to blow that up in just a minute so you can see it. Okay. And then I'll pop down and I look at event sources. All right. So here's events. That's just a link to describe it. Here's the actual link to it. And then I'm going to choose my event. Okay. So I want a CloudWatch event or an event bridge rule. So you want a timed one. I'm going to read this again. And maybe off topic, but I cannot find a way to trigger Lambda functions with event type as event bridge rule, but a scheduled event pattern. So let's kind of break those down for a minute, okay? So CloudWatch event, we can come in and you can do the patterns. Hang on a second here. I want a timed event. Bear with me 1 second here. Eric's hitting all the wrong buttons. All righty. Hang on a sec. Kinesis done scheduled. That's what we want. So scheduled events are done with schedule, right? And that's done. And it's gonna set up an event bridge. It's not a rule. CloudWatch events themselves are based on the patterns. All right. So as stuff comes through, you're not telling the Lambda function, hey, check the event bridge bus every 5 minutes. It's going to be based upon the events coming in. So yeah, and I know the next point you make here is, am I missing something? So that's the definition I want to explain. If you need a timed event, it uses CloudWatch events. And you would use a timed event like I just showed here, a scheduled event. If you want it to be triggered from a rule on an event bridge, then it's the event bridge rule that I was showing earlier. So there's a difference on how those work, and I hope that makes sense. So schedule versus CloudWatch event or event bridge rule, and there you go. So hopefully that helps out. And James Bezic does a wonderful blog series. You can just look it up on CloudWatch or event bridge rules. And a whole series on advanced rules and things like that. So hope that helps out. All right. Any other questions coming in? All right. So I'm going to bring that PowerPoint back up. And let's just start it here. All right. So next week, they'll be talking about Kinesis, all the things, as we talked about. And then past that, again, Kinesis, all things. After that, Rick Houlihan. If you're not familiar with Rick Houlihan, he is the DynamoDB guru. If you've ever seen his sessions at reInvent, you have to watch them in slow motion to understand what he's saying because he talks so fast. So what I asked him to do is he's going to join me, and we're going to do DynamoDB 101 from the 400 master. And here's what we're going to do. Rick's going to talk. He's going to get in. He's going to, and then I'm going to interrupt him. I'm going to say, whoa. Explain that so that Eric understands it. And we're going to get deep into DynamoDB patterns and this what is this single table thing that's always being talked about. So I really encourage you to join us and we'll talk about that. And then after that, Ben Smith has an awesome series on getting started with serverless. We talked about it a little bit earlier when we were announcing this, and they're going to dig in. He and I are going to dig into that series. So, all right. So I see on event bridge schedule. I'll tell you what I'll do is I've got some examples that I could probably shoot you on this. So on the event bridge schedule, I can see a scheduled event. I'll get a SAM pattern to you. If you'll hit me on EDJ Geek Twitter, I'll get a SAM pattern for that. I need to look at it. So many patterns go on this side, a lot come out this side. So glad to look that up and help you out with that. So deal? All right. Okay. And with that, I think if we don't have any other questions, I encourage you to go to servicelane.com, where we talk about a lot of this stuff. And, these videos will be there and links to the YouTube channel. So really encourage you to check that out. There's the QR code or serverlesslane.com. And with that, I think we're going to sign off. And I'm going to get rid of that. There we go. And Ankita, do you have anything you want to throw out before we sign off?
No, not really. I'm really happy to be here. This is the first time streaming live. So yeah, it was really excited and such a great participation here. And thanks, Akash, for taking all the questions.
Yeah. I want to also say things. First of all, Ankita, you knocked it out of the park. With a lot of viewers, it stayed. People are. This is very interesting, obviously. So really knocked it out of the park, and we're going to need to do some more on this. And Akash, I'm not sure we could have done without you. I really, really appreciate you answering the questions. So with that, again, next week, same time, same place, Kinesis, all the streams. Thanks again, Ankita. Thanks, Akash. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day. Serverless for everyone. We'll see you later.